Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy J-Rock right here, about to drop another comic review. Today, we're gonna get something out of Marvel, as 80% of the time here we review Marvel. I'll change someday, hopefully. Now, what I'm working on, what's on my to-read pile is Marvel heavy. We're gonna be reviewing Wolverine: Path of the Warlord. It is a story you don't hear much talk about. A good story, very underrated. The writer here is Howard Mackie. On pencils is John Paulion. Now the colorist and inker here are just as important. The inker is Shawn Martinbrough, and the colorist is Gregory Wright. Now this has a killer cover. I love it. It's in black and white. It just includes the penciler and the inker. Great art. It has this aura about it. As a lot of times black and white art gives a whole different aura than when it's in color. Now here the colorist changes the feel of it a lot, and I would even say changes the pencils a lot because this colorist has a very specific style. Now, is this his style or was he told to do it this way in the story? I do not know. But he adds a lot of dark tones, dark mood to the story. It's very dark colors. There's never sunlight or anything like that. This is a story about back like hundreds of years ago in Japan with samurais and so forth. And the story constantly changes. It goes from a samurai type story, then you throw some science fiction in there, then you throw some soldier, like think Navy SEAL spies or whatever. So it has a lot going on for itself. It doesn't necessarily sit under one genre. But if I had to say it did, I would definitely lean more towards old school feudal Japan, in my opinion. I don't have the original graphic novel. I believe it was like a two-issue graphic novel type of thing. The second part is called The Shadow Society, which fits this story very well because that's what it is, and we'll get to it in a minute. You'll know what that means. I'm reading it off of this Wolverine Prehistory. This is all the stories of Wolverine and his life before he was with the X-Men, his life before he even met up with the Hulk and he joined the Canadian government. This is all before all that. There are stories of him. He's lived a long time. He ages very slow, so he's lived hundreds of years. So this is his life. What he's gone through back in Japan. Then he went through the World War. He's though back when there was Nazis and racism was racism. He lived through that era. He lived through the Japanese era where they constantly were at war with China and so forth. Okay, so Wolverine's lived a long time, like I said, so he's well traveled. I'm in my 30s and I feel like I've been there, done it all. Anything I experience now will just be something I've already experienced before. So I have experience in it already. Now imagine Wolverine that's lived like 400 years already. Like he's basically gonna live forever. He's kind of like immortal. So you can imagine how many lives he's lived, how many journeys he's been on. Right? He has a lot of experience in life. He's kind of been there, done that. Now this story is back when he's in Japan, and this is kind of the first appearance of his berserker rage because he has an animal primal instinct in him, and here this is the first time it's surfaced, right? So he's in Japan and he got the sensei, just like in martial arts. It's like not like boxing. Boxing, you get your regular person off the streets. They learn how to fight. A lot of them have come out of prisons or whatever. Boxing, right? So they teach this to a lot of people. Some already naturally have some type of talent with that. And martial arts, they don't want to get just any random person that they don't want them knowing these fighting skills if it's someone that could use them for bad, right? They want to teach this. When they teach you martial arts, they teach you to build character, to use it only in self-defense, and they teach you kind of how to control your anger, how to be very zen, right? So it makes sense that Wolverine would take up this life with senses and samurais and all that because he has this animal within him that's gonna surface someday, and he's gonna need to know how to control it. So martial arts is good for him, teaches him how to balance that. And his sensei tells him, he goes, "You got an animal in you. It's gonna come out someday." That being the berserker rage, and he tells him, "Till that day comes, we gotta make sure we prepare you, and we gotta make sure the animal don't have claws until we know you can control it when it does come out." So here, needless to say, that's gonna come out for the first time, the berserker rage, which was pretty cool. Now this story starts off with Wolverine is in Japan and so forth, and he's like ambushed by some guys, and he's saying only two people would have known about this stuff. His ancient nemesis Kimora. This guy's been around way before X-Men and so forth, right? Back in the days. And the other enemy, one of them is his friend Chang. He goes, Chang, who's the only person I trust. At this time, he only trusts Chang and his sensei, right? And Kimura is his mortal enemy. So he goes, Chang and Kimura are the only one that know about my life and so forth, that know me that well. And so he doesn't trust neither one at this point because he don't know which one of the two is doing this to him, this ambush. He takes care of these guys not so easily, but he handles them. And then he's like, it's freaking Shang. He goes to Chang's house. He's about to let this guy have it. And at this point, Wolverine doesn't use his claws in this whole storyline. He uses swords, little knives, Tinka, Raphael from Ninja Turtles. So he's about to kill Chang. Chang tells him, they came to attack me too. It's Kimora. So he's looking out for Kimora, his ancient enemy. And Chang does not want to tell Wolverine the get down. He doesn't want to let him know all the info. He goes, Wolverine, you don't need to know everything because you're too pig-headed, right? You just jump into fights and so forth, and you can make things even worse. It's more complicated than that right now. So it turns out there's this, it's almost like a time machine that could take you, not necessarily back in time, but it could take you to different dimensions. Like there's different dimensions we live in, right? So that's how they were wondering how this guy Kimora can live forever, how he could die, come back, and so forth. And that's where things get tricky because Chang doesn't want Wolverine knowing this knowledge quite yet. Right, so now Wolverine, the fact that he's holding out info on him, Wolverine doesn't trust Chang. He thinks something's fishy here. And they got this scientist. He's the one that found this portal, if you will. He found this portal, and he has a daughter named Rose. So he found this portal, and Kimora found this scientist or whatever. He's torturing him. He wants the info, and that guy goes, I'd rather you kill me, kill my daughter. You can't know where this portal's at, because then he could go through portals through different times, different dimensions, and kind of take over the world. Wolverine hops into action here, and the art, the inks are very dark, and the colors are very moody, very dark, which works good. It sets a tone, but sometimes I look at these pencils and inks, and this would look so much better just in black and white. But I know a lot of people don't like black and white art. It's an automatic write-off. So maybe if they would have used some different colors sometimes, because sometimes the colors are too dark, they can get muddied and you can't really see everything that's going on. It's like if you're walking somewhere in your room when it's dark with the light off, right? You can't really quite see everything. You're bumping into stuff. So anyways, Wolverine fights this guy. He thinks he one-upped him and killed him, but not really, because this guy's immortal. So when he's fighting Kimora can make these like shadows, right? And his own shadow. Like he just jumps towards, like say I'm looking at a wall, I run towards the wall to my own shadow. And those shadows are portals to other like dimensions and so forth, or they call it the other world sometimes. So once he does that, Kimora escapes like that, and Chang's telling Wolverine, this stuff's very complicated. You don't need to know what's going on here. Just go about your life, Wolverine. Forget you ever saw anything. And Wolverine wants info, right? At this point, Wolverine's not Wolverine. His name is just Logan here. And he tells just forget you know anything, never talk about this again, and you can live, or else we'll have to kill you. Because this guy's like something like a Men in Black, very secret society and so forth, Chang. And so Wolverine goes about his life, forgets about anything that happened that day. He just assumes Kimora's dead and whatnot. They go, don't pursue him, don't try to look for him to kill him. Just leave things as they are, we'll take care of it. 5 years later, he found a new hideout, because that's where the source started. They found his like little forest where he goes and hangs out to be at peace. So he had to find a new one, and he's at this like river. He's at this river called Jasmine's Falls. So it's a place in Japan. He's hanging out, he's showering in the river, whatever, is where he relaxes. And Shang pops out of nowhere. 5 years have passed. Tells him, we need you, Wolverine. Now I'm ready to give you more info on what was happening. Lets him know about the time machine. And Wolverine's like, why are you telling me now? He goes, obviously, I wouldn't tell you unless we felt we needed you for this mission. We're going to need you because you can heal and so forth. At this time, obviously, he doesn't have adamantium, and I don't even think he has claws yet. But he does have his healing factor, and he does live forever. So they're giving him some information of what's happening. They're letting him know about the portal and how Kimora's back. They show him this portal. They go, you're going to come with us through this portal to look for Kimora, because we need to get rid of him now, because he's getting dangerously close to finding out where this layer is or where the portal is. And things can get only worse if he finds it, right? So Wolverine has seen all this, and they do an awesome two-page spread here. It looks very eerie. You see scientists and people dressed like Navy SEALs when they're underwater and whatnot. It looks awesome. I really like the art here. There's a panel. I would have liked to see how it looks with no colors, just in black and white, or maybe other colors, because it is a bit dark. I would like to see how it looks when it's not so dark. So Chang and Wolverine go through the portal. And when they enter this other dimension where Kimora is gonna be at, he has two henchmen. This guy and this girl. The girl looks kind of Asian, but and kind of like dark skin right here because well, the colors are very dark in general. But the guy doesn't look Asian at all to me. He looks like Australian or something. So that's kind of a crazy combination, especially because it's back in these days, like so many years ago. Anyways, those two have that same shadow power, like the Shadow Society, right? Where they can go into their own shadows. The shadows almost look like ink, like Venom and so forth, like his symbiote. So when Wolverine, Logan at this time, and Chang, they cross over, they're supposed to meet up with someone on the other side that's going to explain to them the get down and so forth. And it's Rose being the scientist's daughter. So when they get there, these two guys are waiting for them, and they get into with these two guys because Kimora knows somebody's going through the portal. So when they get there, they were sent to just immediately take care of them, kill them or whatever. Well, obviously, Wolverine and Chang won because they got the help of Rose. They beat these guys, and they go back to the portal, back with Kimora. He's like, "You failed me," and starts yelling at him and so forth. So now they gotta go look for Kimora. He's starting this whole little group. He's giving a speech like a president, right? Like talking to other people of this other world. And he has this guy that's kind of like he could tell premonitions. What would you call those? Not a shaman. It's like like someone that like a future teller. I got a name. I forgot it. It's not coming to me right now. But anyways, he's telling them, "Oh, these two off-worlders are gonna come. We gotta kill them." And Wolverine jumps into action, starts arguing with this guy. Type of things that Wolverine usually does. Jumps into action without strategizing first, which is what they don't want him doing, right? So it creates this big thing between everybody's fighting, right? So when they're done fighting with this group or whatever, these soldiers, one of them was a big guy with a big axe. That was a pretty cool fight scene. But when they're through with them, they get to where Kimora's at. And now we see why Wolverine and Chang were sent there. Kimora has the professor tied up again, and he's torturing him again, trying to get the info he needs. But now he has more technology. He got some type of machine that gets the thoughts from him. So he's like, "Hey, I got the information I need, regardless if you tell me or not, because the machine got it for me," right? And that's why Rose was on the other side of this dimension, because she's trying to save her father. And that's why they got them there. So they jump into action to try to get Kimora. He grabs Rose, puts a knife to her neck, and this knife looks pretty sharp. She probably don't want to get cut by this. So Wolverine sees this, and he just goes Berserker Rage. So we see him go Berserker Rage for the first time. And he's telling you in the narration, "I felt this primal instinct for the first time, being the Berserker Rage." And the artists really knocked it out of the ballpark here. They did a great job. You see the intensity and the rage and the facial expressions of Logan. Looks awesome. And then the backgrounds with the colorists, he just draws the backgrounds just red backgrounds on those panels, so it's all bad, and he's having a moment, right? And so that I really like the way that looked. It really felt special, like oh shit, like he's losing it. You could really feel it. The art did a great job. So when he gets Berserker Rage, he just starts attacking Kimora and letting them have it. They get into this big battle. It's awesome fight scene. I love it. And the colors here, they didn't bother me so much. Even though they were still kind of dark, it still worked. You could see the action pretty good because you had the glow of the portal that's green. So you had a lot of light green panels, and then you had a lot of bright red. So it wasn't as dark as the stuff before, right? It didn't feel very shadowy. Because this was dark, man. The majority of the art and the majority of the story was like a Scott Snyder film, right? On the Justice League, it was like very dark colors and so forth. And towards the end, it was a little more brighter. Although the panels were mainly one color, they were just black outlines with green or black outlines with red. Either way, it was great art at the end. Now, after they beat Kimora, they can't kill him because he's immortal, but they find out you could throw people through these portals, and if the portal somehow fractured, it'll keep the person lost in space, if you will, in between dimensions. So they're just trapped in nowhere land forever, right? So they do this. They throw Kimora through this portal, and Wolverine has this big samurai sword. He cracks the portal, and it's kind of like broken, and you see the bright green glow just fizzle out, and it just turns like blue, right, or black. So it just turns dark, basically, and it ends there. They go, "Yeah, he can't go through this portal anymore." Pretty good story, satisfying ending for me personally. I thought the fight scene was great. Plenty of story, plenty of action. Had a nice mixture of both. And the art was, sometimes I liked it, sometimes I didn't because of the coloring. It was sometimes too dark for me. It was too light where you couldn't see what was going on. And then the last page, I like what they did on the last page. The last page, it's black and white. And then like, the end of the day, the mission's over. And it reminded me of those old samurai movies that are in black and white. You see Wolverine, you see everybody. They're like, why don't you join our team, our group, right? And he's like, I'm a lone wolf. But after this experience, it was a good mission. We passed with flying colors. I'll consider it because it wasn't a bad experience, right? And that ends there at the end. He walks away, and it's in black and white with just inks and pencils. I really like what they did here with the last page because here's that whole black and white set a tone for the ending as well. Here the colors played a big part in this story for me. Like in the ending, they played a big part with the bright greens and reds where Wolverine's going berserker rage. And then in the middle parts of the story, it felt like they're on stealth missions where it's night and it's very dark. And then, like I said, on some areas I didn't like it on some specific scenes, but overall it was very important because it set tones for every scene or whatever, right? So yeah, this was a great story. I don't hear any talk about it on YouTube or anything, so I thought I'd drop a review on it. Loved it. Like I said, it has some time portal stuff, some sciencey stuff, and some samurai stuff. I would recommend people to read this. It explains a little bit about Wolverine, and it tells you how he got his berserker rage. Pretty cool stuff. Check it out, guys. I would hit it with maybe like wasn't a great story, but it was a solid read, a good story. I'll give it maybe like a 8.5. I would say 9, but I don't think it. I think a 9 is a little high. Say 8.5. Especially if you like Wolverine, you want to know where did he get the name Wolverine from? When did he get the Berserker Rage? Where did he meet the X-Men? All those stories, all those type of stories are told here. So yeah, guys, that's my review for today. Hopefully you liked it. Hit the like button, help support the channel. If you want to see more of these stories, I'm going to review the rest of them. If you want to see more of that stuff, you're a Wolverine fan, hit the subscribe button. That way it'll keep you notified on your feed when I drop my next review. All right, other than that, I'd like to thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to check out the video. I'll check you guys out next time.